All right, everyone. So I'm sure we've all been there. You know,
Hmm.
it's January and we're like, this is my year. This is the year I'm going to do it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I'm going to finally go to the gym every day or whatever our resolution was.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 2 weeks later, we kind of forget about it. And that motivation just goes
Right out the window.
out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough, right? Because you have that initial spark, but then how do we keep it going?
I think it's something that a lot of us struggle with.
Hmm.
And I think today we really want to dive into, what are some tips and tricks we can use to actually achieve our goals rather than just, starting strong and then fading out.
Yeah, exactly. Like how can we keep that fire burning? That's what we're talking about today, right?
Exactly. Because, I think we often approach goals with this idea that motivation is like a constant thing.
Right. Like it's just going to stay
They're
there.
like, I'm motivated. I'm going to go to the gym every day this month.
Right.
But it's not like that. It's more like a muscle that you have to constantly work out.
Hmm.
And it's like a fire you have to tend to. You have to keep adding fuel to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's like that initial burst of energy is great. But what are those pieces of kindling that we can keep adding to the fire to make sure that it keeps burning all year long?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is to realize that action actually creates motivation.
Ooh. So it's not the other way around.
Right. A lot of times we think like, oh, I'm not motivated to go to the gym, so I'm just not going to.
I'm going to wait until I feel like it.
Right. But it's really the opposite.
Yeah.
If you actually take the action, even if you don't feel like it, that will actually create the motivation for you to keep going.
Interesting. So it's like almost tricking your brain into getting motivated.
Yeah. In a way, it's like you're kind of jump-starting the process.
I like that.
And then once you start seeing results, then the motivation will naturally come.
Okay. So like, let's say, for example, my goal is to write a book this year,
Yeah.
which is actually a goal of mine. Would you say, like, instead of waiting until I have, like, the perfect outline and, like, I feel so inspired to write it,
Well-
just sit down and start writing something?
Exactly. Just start writing anything. Even
Yeah.
if it's just like a page a day or even just a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
That act of doing something will create momentum.
Yeah, I like that.
And it will make you feel like, oh, I can actually do this.
Right.
And then the next day you'll be like, okay, well, I wrote a paragraph yesterday. Maybe I can write 2 paragraphs today.
Right. And it builds up from there.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like that. Now, what about those days where, it's like pouring rain? You're trying to start your fire and the wind keeps blowing it out and you're just feeling completely unmotivated. Like, what do we do on those days?
I think it's important to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not going to be 100% motivated every single day.
Right.
And that's okay.
A marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about consistency over time. And so on those days where you're really not feeling it, it's okay to take a break. Do something that you enjoy that will kind of refill your cup.
Okay, so almost like re-energize yourself.
Exactly. And then come back to it when you're feeling more refreshed.
Okay. And what are some things that we can do to kind of re-energize ourselves on those days when we're not really feeling it?
Well, I think it depends on the person, but I think for a lot of people, spending time in nature can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Just getting outside, getting some fresh air, disconnecting from technology for a little bit.
Mm.
Other things could be, reading a good book,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
listening to music,
Oh, music. Yeah, I love listening to music.
spending time with loved ones.
Mm.
Whatever it is that kind of brings you joy and makes you feel refreshed.
Yeah, I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, sometimes I get so caught up in, my to-do list and just like the hustle and bustle of everyday life
Yeah.
that I forget to take time for myself.
Right.
And that's when I start to feel burnt out and unmotivated.
Exactly. And I think it's so important to remember that self-care is not selfish.
Yeah.
It's actually essential for us to be able to show up as our best selves in all areas of our lives.
Right. So by taking care of ourselves, we're actually able to achieve our goals better.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So just to kind of recap what we've talked about today, it's so important to keep that motivation going throughout the year. And some of the ways that we can do that are by taking action,
Yes.
even when we don't feel like it. Remembering that it's a marathon, not a sprint,
Absolutely.
and being kind to ourselves on those days when we're not feeling 100%.
And taking breaks when we need them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And replenishing our energy
Mm.
by doing things that we enjoy.
Exactly.
This has been such a helpful conversation. I feel like I have a lot of new tools that I can use to keep myself motivated this year,
Thanks, too.
and I hope that our listeners feel the same way. And if you did enjoy this deep dive, Please make sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss any future episodes, and also share it with a friend who you think might benefit from these tips.
Yeah, spread the motivation.
Spread the motivation. And we'll see you next time.
Sounds good. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.